My name is Jackson Brossy, and I am the Assistant Administrator for the Office of Native American Affairs at the Small Business Administration. And I would like to welcome you to another SBA Elevating Small Business Series event. Today, we are celebrating Native American Heritage Month and the contributions that Native American entrepreneurs and small businesses make to the U.S. economy. This event is being recorded, and it will be made available after the event. Yat anatsko Jackson Brossy dash geneto tko heglinish ne Lagana bashes chain but anie dash chedo Lagana dash nala Podis ado look at you yes in a shadow a day Washington the cash. I welcome you in the way that Navajo and Diné people often welcome each other, where we share our connections and tell a bit of our background. I'm from the Water Flows Together people. Is my clan, and I'm a member of the Navajo Nation, or Diné, and originally from northeastern Arizona. I currently reside here in Washington, D.C., and I would like to acknowledge that we are on the unceded ancestral homeland of the Akwesasne and the Piscataway people. And I want to also acknowledge the thousands of Native American people and from many other tribes across the country that live here and work here in the District of Columbia, Maryland, and the Virginia area today. It's my pleasure to lead today's discussion with some very exciting, with our very exciting small business here. Before we get started, I'd like to share some background about myself and then also our Office of Native American Affairs. So as the head of the Office of Native American Affairs, I serve as a senior executive, providing some management, leadership, and oversight in our interactions with Native American communities at the SBA, whether that is through access to capital, whether that's through government contracting, which is an incredible area where we have many Native American entrepreneurs, tribes, Alaska Native corporations, and Native Hawaiian organizations engaged in prospering, and then also counseling, where our office provides some grants to some organizations doing work across the country, and I'm happy to share that the SBA has a new partnership with a number of groups called Community Navigators, where we have the largest connection between Native American serving organizations and the SBA that we've ever had. In an average year, we have a connection with about 7 or so Native American serving organizations, and I'm happy to say that thanks to the Community Navigators pilot, we have more than 40 that stretch from Maine to Oklahoma to South Dakota to Washington State, all the way out to Hawaii, and then all the way up to the very tip of Alaska. So really proud of that partnership, and we'll talk a bit more about that. I'm also pleased to share that earlier this year, Administrator Isabella Guzman, who is the head of the Small Business Administration, listened to Native American tribes and Alaska Native leaders and elevated the Office of Native American Affairs, my office, so that I report directly to her. And that, I'm proud to say, has elevated the work that we do and the impact that we can have. So I'm really proud of that progress that we are making now, and I think that this direct connection with a cabinet level official speaks volumes to the priority and recognition of Native American entrepreneurs within this agency and this administration. A bit more background about myself. Prior to joining the SBA, I worked as executive director for an organization called the Native CDFI Network, and the Native CDFI Network is a group of nonprofit community development financial institutions that work to bridge the challenges of access to capital to underserved communities and Native American entrepreneurs in particular. I also headed up the Navajo Nation's Washington, D.C. office. The Navajo Nation is the largest tribe in the country, and I headed up our federal affairs office. As I noted earlier, I'm a member of the Navajo Nation, and a graduate of Stanford and Harvard, but I'm particularly proud of graduating from Red Mesa High School, which is a small school on the Navajo reservation. Some basic high-level facts and figures about Native American people. There are 9.7 Native Americans in the United States, and if you're not familiar with Native American folks, you might find the next figure surprising. There are 574 Native American tribes that are federally recognized with the United States government. There are a number of state-recognized tribes across the country, and the Small Business Administration works with both federally recognized tribes and state-recognized tribes to meet their needs and the needs of these growing and entrepreneur populations. And so a fun exercise I like to do with friends is to ask them to name tribes, name more than 5 tribes. And I'll let you pause and think about that for a bit. But if you're not working in the area, just naming 5, let alone 574, gives you an idea of the amount of Native tribes out there, but also the diversity, whether, like I said, the tribes in Maine, or how they are different than the tribes in Florida or the tribes in Arizona, where I'm from, the Navajo Nations in Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah, or the tribes in California, where there are quite a number of fairly recognized tribes in California, or the Alaska Native tribes and villages and corporations that are great contributors to the people in Alaska and their economy. So I guess to put that 9.7 million figure in perspective, that 9.7 million population of Native Americans is slightly larger than the population of Virginia or New Jersey. And Alaska has the highest percentage of Native Americans with about 20%, and Oklahoma is second with about 13% of their population that are Native American. With respect to small businesses, the census says that there are 26,064 Native American businesses nationwide, and those are businesses that have payroll, and that does not include smaller micro businesses that are maybe not incorporated or may not have employees. This represents about 44.9 billion in receipts, and they pay an estimated 10.3 billion in annual payroll. So, as you can see, the Native American community has made a tremendous impact on the economy at this small business level, and it is growing. Well, it's not even growing, but we as Native Americans want to regrow our economies and bring them back from a lot of the challenges that these economies have faced thanks to colonization and a number of other forces that have really decimated the ability to provide and thrive in our home communities. We also want to acknowledge and celebrate the many ways that the Native communities have influenced and contributed to American society. And this is not a history lesson, but we could make it one, and there are many, many ways, from the food that we eat to the language, the many words that are Native American, to even the type of democracy itself is something that the Haudenosaunee and the Iroquois people are proud to share about their contributions. Finally, before I introduce our great panelists and our great small business, I want to make sure that we share this message that Native American people are diverse, we are growing, small businesses and large businesses are sophisticated, and we are very much engaged in business development, and we'll continue to be. So with that background, it's my privilege and pleasure to introduce our featured guest today, and that is Carrie Hill. And Carrie is the owner of Chilled Baskets. Carrie is a Haudenosaunee woman from the Akwesasne Mohawk territory. And this territory straddles the US and Canadian border along the St. Lawrence River and is very in the northern part of New York State. Hello, Carrie. Yate, appreciate you coming. And can you please share with us a bit of your background and also Chill Baskets and what you guys do? Thank you.
Saigon, hello. Yama for having me here. My name is Carrie Hill, and I am the owner and proprietor of Chill Baskets. Excuse me. Chill Baskets was established in 2016 after my youngest daughter was born. I decided that after about 4 months of diapers and dishes that I wanted something that would sustain me, Carrie, more than just a mom and a wife. So I remembered my aunties making baskets as I was growing up, and I thought that it looked fantastic to have that camaraderie and that visiting while they were creating beautiful pieces for people to look at. And I had asked her if she would teach me how to make them. So after I would put my baby to bed at night, I would go to her house and she would show me how to prepare the materials, how to lay the splints, how to pick the sweetgrass, how to dye the splints, just basically everything I needed to know how to create beautiful pieces. I started creating the pieces, and eventually I started to dabble with different ideas, and I would say, Auntie, what about this? Could I combine this curl with this curl? And she would just say, I don't know, try it. And so I would try it, I would show her, and she would, oh, this is nice. So then I would come up with other ideas, and the answer was always, try it. And so because she never told me that that's not how we used to do things, so you have to do it that way, she kind of fostered my creativity inadvertently, which is fantastic. It allowed me to expand from simply creating baskets to creating jewelry and cuffs and clutches and other kinds of baskets. I've had pieces go all over the world. And then eventually I started to teach and present, which slowly led me into the adventure of becoming a business owner and not just an artist. And so here I am today.
Great. I can't have, that's how we say thank you in the Navajo language. And Carrie, really appreciate you taking the time with us. And as all our small business partners know, that your time is precious. You have sales to make and inventory to manage and books to keep. And then on top of that, you're managing your family as well and being a great parent. So now let's we have some questions for you, and I want to just dive right in. So mentioned that you're Haudenosaunee and from Akwesasne Mohawk. And so can you tell us a bit about the Akwesasne folks, even for Native American people like me who have never been out to Akwesasne land?
Sure. So Akwesasne has New York State, Ontario, and Quebec in it. There's 2 provinces and 2 countries that fall into Akwesasne. And I reside in the New York State portion. Canada stops our property, or stops where we live. But Akwesasne, the Mohawk or Ganyegahaga reservation, encompasses all 3 of these aspects. Akwesasne is also very much known for basket weavers. We have many of the greats that come from here, such as Mary Adams, Josephine Angus, Katie Thompson, just to name a few. And also my favorite one that I like to name off is Louise Barnes Bigtree, who just happened to be my great grandmother. So you can see that basket weaving has been generations deep in my family. We are named for where the partridge drums, which is what Akwesasne means, and we got that name from the sound that the St. Lawrence River makes when it comes through. It kind of sounds like partridge drumming their feet, and so that's how we were named.
Great, thanks for that background, and thanks for sharing that. I know that the Akwesasne people also like to say that the border crossed them, and so
that's right.
Yeah, family on both sides. Yeah.
That's right. Yep. We were here first, and the border happened to us, and yeah, that would be pretty accurate to say.
Well, there are 9.7 Native Americans in the country, and the majority of Native American folks do not reside on reservation lands like I grew up on, but a lot live off reservation, like I currently raise my own children and my wife. Is your business located on a reservation? And if so, how does that change things, or does that change things at all with the way you operate?
Well, yes, my business is actually on the other side of my driveway. So I was fortunate enough to secure a grant in 2016 from the New York Foundation of the Arts, which allowed me the finances to build a studio space instead of having my pieces and my work on the kitchen table, because splitting spaghetti just doesn't go good together. I promise you that. But as far as having issues or things with being on the reservation, it can come up in a way that I was kind of resistant to go forward with the official help, instead of just making it like a family business, you know, where it was just something as a passion. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't realize how much was out there to help me start my business. I didn't realize I wanted to start a business until it was already happening to me. And I was able to find out through the economic development about the Small Business Association and the help that they could provide.
Thanks. Yeah, so the small business development centers, and you touched on how you got started in your business earlier, but can you tell us a bit more about how you got started? And what is really, and also what does it mean to use work with your tribe and your culture and share that culture as part of your business?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Akwesasne is known for basket weavers, and I just think that it's fantastic that we're looking at baskets as an art form, as opposed to just something that we utilize to live off of the land. And I'm sorry, I got a little flustered. Could you please repeat the question?
Yeah, no worries. Well, I think even, well, we can come back to that, but obviously the culture influences, it is your work, and it is your business. But so I would think that that's something that's a big part of you, but how did you just take that love for your culture, that sharing, and also that wealth of connection between you and the culture and other basket makers, and how did you turn that into a business, and what prompted that, and were there tools that you used to get there?
So before, excuse me, before I actually took the leap to start a business with Chill Baskets, I was dabbling in making the baskets at night in my own free time and working as a pre-K teacher's aide during the daytime. And I was finding that people were reaching out to me to do demonstrations and presentations and to facilitate workshops and things of that nature, so that other people could have more of an understanding of basket weaving. And I was finding that I was taking time off from my day job to do this. And I realized at one point that it would be fantastic if I could be my own boss and not work for somebody else, you know. And I was introduced to the SBA through a program here, and they kind of just held my hand and guided me through all of the steps and stages of things that I needed to do, which was one, to learn about bookkeeping and how to file taxes for my business and things of that nature, like the business end of it, I guess, not the creative part. And it slowly but very organically became a business for me, and I'm trying really hard to play catch up, but I think I'm doing okay playing catch up with it. I'm still learning how to run a successful business, but I have a great team, so it's becoming a fantastic endeavor.
Thanks. And I know that the Small Business Development Center played a huge role. And are there any challenges, barriers that you experience when you're ramping up that maybe you want to share with any other small businesses that are thinking about taking the leap and growing?
Some of the challenges that I faced were probably just not knowing what I needed. You know what I mean? Like just turning my passion for creating baskets into something that could be a sustainable thing for me. And I just needed direction. And then from there, just some more guidance as far as where to go. for these things. So one barrier, I guess, would be kind of like funding, because everybody doesn't have a lump of money to sit on to just be like, here's a business, let me just start a business with this chunk of change. Because if you're working for other people, then it typically doesn't work like that. So my first thing would be like the financial aspect of it, where to tap into certain funding sources that I could utilize to help me with my business. It was not knowing how to do a lot of the business things. So I required a lot of help with the business. And like I said, it was because I had started out as someone who did it as for passion, and then I segued into my name being synonymous with an artist, and now I have a business, and it's just like adjusting to all of those things. That was really the barrier for me, but I was really grateful for all of the help that I received.
Well, thanks for sharing that. It's not always easy to talk about challenges. The SBA has several resources in addition to small business development centers, which are critical and free resources to everybody that we encourage everybody to utilize. Another one that we want to share about is the SBA's lender match tool. So if folks need access to capital, they need a loan, and we encourage you to check out the SBA's lender match tool, which is on sba.gov, where you can enter your information and you can connect with banks that might be able to assist you in access to capital. Another big one that we want to share about that is really personal to me, and I care a lot about our Native Community Development and Financial Institutions, CDFIs, that I alluded to earlier. And there are a little more than 70 Native CDFIs across the country. I guess you can do your own math. There are 574 tribes and there are 70 Native CDFIs. So obviously there isn't maybe a Native CDFI per Native community, but there are a number across the country. And a lot of Native CDFIs are able to help with a lot of the same counseling and access to capital and training that help small businesses in this area. And as I mentioned earlier, one of our really big partners and really big great stories that is new this year is the Community Navigators Program, where the SBA now has more than 40 Native American partners. Most of these are Native CDFIs that can provide access to capital and training to small businesses across the country, again, from Maine to Oklahoma to South Dakota to Alaska and Hawaii. And those are also available on our SBA website, and so encourage folks to check those out. But also, like everyone else in Native American communities in particular, were impacted by the COVID pandemic. And so Carrie, how did the pandemic impact your operations, and what steps are you taking to pivot and change as things move forward?
Oh gosh, well, when 2020 happened, my schedule was planned up into October for different events and different facilitating workshops I would be doing, different presentations, classes, and different schools I would be teaching at. And in March of 2020, when the world just kind of shut down real quick, I watched my schedule be cleared, which was very scary for me, because as a full-time artist and somebody who was living solely on what I made or what I taught or where I went as far as a presenter, it was really scary. I had my whole year planned out and my finances were all situated, and then one by one came the cancellations, the postponements, we're not going to do this art market this year. So there went that opportunity for creating money funds. There was some presenting opportunities that I missed out on. It was just really wild and very scary, because for the first time in probably about 5 years from doing it, that I had no idea what was next for me. And it was very scary, because I put food on the table with my art and the things that I created and the classes I was teaching and things, and then all of a sudden there was nothing. I remember cutting up a check the week that my phone bill was due, and I don't want to say begging, but I did call and ask, like, please, I promise I'm good for it. If you just let me cash the check and I'll do the class later. And it wasn't gonna happen, so I had to figure it out. But luckily for me, there were some opportunities that arose from this. I was able to tap into a few grants that were geared towards Native Americans, one being the IEN, or the Indigenous Environmental Network. They allotted a certain amount of dollars for different artisans or different Native businesses that they could tap into and utilize that at their own discretion. You know, if you needed it to buy groceries or pay bills or buy supplies, it was just really up to you what you wanted to do with that. I also received a grant from the NDN Collective. That was very nerve-wracking to apply for that grant as well. There was a lot of things, and being an artist, I did kind of resist being business-like. Like, I'm not, I wish I had different verbiage because I like to just be relaxed and chill and make my pieces in the studio and disregard the business aspect, which is difficult because as a small business owner, you have to wear many hats in order to do all of these things and be successful. But I was able to tap into the NDN grant from the collective, and then there was also some tribal funds that were earmarked through COVID for different tribal agencies to disperse amongst their people. So I was able to tap into some of that as well.
Right, and were you able to access the Paycheck Protection program?
Yes, so that's where my partner, excuse me, not my partner, but the woman I go to for everything, Michelle Collins, she alerted me to the Paycheck Protection Program, which, because I had gone through and gone legit, so to speak, and registered my business and things of that nature, I was able to tap into that and recover some losses there. And I was also able to apply for the EIDL, which I was extremely grateful for, which absolutely kept my business afloat during these wild times. Yes.
Oh, great. Thanks for sharing that, Carrie, and big shout out to Michelle, the SBDC out in northern New York. And there are many more other great Michelles out there. There are SBDCs across the country, and you can go to the local assistance tool on the SBA.gov website to find the nearest SBDC or other resource partners. So we have a number of other resource partners I mentioned, but a couple that we want to highlight are some women business centers, and also the Veteran Business Opportunity Centers, VBOX, and SCORE. SCORE is a program where really a free business mentorship opportunity program that is also available, and you can look at the SBA website to look at our partners there. So I wanted to see this earlier, but can you share some of your baskets with us and we take a look? I think you're on mute. There we go.
Yes, is it
Yep,
working?
we're good.
Okay, so this, oh, it's being funny. This is one. Oh,
very nice, very nice. We can see it. What's it made of?
Black ash and sweetgrass.
Thanks.
And then there's a contemporary one that I made was a cuff.
Oh, wow.
This just fits right on your wrist.
Wow.
I lined it with leather so that it would be comfortable to wear. It actually came out of my creation from a necessity. I was nominated for a Akwesasne Business and Excellence Award here in Akwesasne, and I went shopping for jewelry and I found this beautiful herringbone cuff, and I didn't like the price tag on it because I was being a little cheap, and I decided to make my own jewelry because I was nominated as a basket weaver, so it only seemed fitting that I made my own jewelry for the event. And then I also have, oh, it's
The
beaded.
necklace. Yeah.
Yes, a necklace and earring set.
Earrings. Yeah.
And I have gold leaf on there as well.
Well, that's beautiful. That's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Yeah. Well, thanks. The well, I guess you shared a bit about Paycheck Protection Program. I'll share a bit more about that. On the PPP, we the SBA are really happy that in 2021, $2.2 billion went out to Native American, and that includes American Indian, Alaska Native, and Native Hawaiian small business owners. And the majority of that $2.2 billion in the PPP was forgiven. And really, in my work with Native American community small businesses, there has never been that type of direct response to challenges ever. And so we're really happy and proud of that much needed investment when it was really needed. If you are a small business that is currently also in a economically or emergency situation, there could be other pieces, access to capital or loans that you might be able to access. Specifically, if you're in an area with a natural disaster, the SBA does offer disaster loans at lower rates. And so that is hopefully something that you folks are listening do not need, but if you do, the SBA can help there. So I wanted to make sure that that was something that we shared about. And so Carrie, your business is right along the Canadian border, and as you said, the border did not, you didn't cross the border crossed your folks. Can you share a bit about any exporting you do, or do you do any exporting? And it looks like we've just lost Carrie. So hopefully we're able to bring her back soon. And she's back. Hey, Carrie. So broadband in rural country and including native places is challenging, and so it's good to have you back, Carrie. So the question I asked earlier was, you're right along the Canadian border. Do you export anything to Canada or other countries? And any lessons learned around that, and any opportunities or resources that other small businesses might be able to take advantage of if they want to export?
I'm really, I haven't quite gotten that far yet as far as exporting, but do you have information that I could use for that?
Awesome. Well, great question. So the SBA, if you go to sba.gov and search for export, we have a number of different resources out there. There are some export loans that you might be eligible for, and obviously counseling, whether that's the SBDCs, which you already take advantage of. But one other really great tool that we like to share about, and I actually didn't know about until I joined the agency, was the STEP program. So that's the State Trade Expansion Program, STEP. And this is a program where the Small Business Administration through Congress provides grants to states. Nearly all states use this program and take advantage of it. And these grants, you can then apply directly through your state for a grant to help you either, say, one, set up a website that focuses on exports to other countries and can be tailored, and we can make it tailored in a different language, or just tailored for whatever requirements that country might have for their websites. Or if you see an opportunity to go sell directly or go to a trade show or conference that is located in another country, the STEP program is something that we encourage everybody to look into. You can go to the SBA website and find your state STEP program, or you can probably just Google your state and state trade expansion program STEP, and you'd be able to connect with folks there. But really, I think that's a great resource, and folks are always asking, can we get a grant? Can we get a grant? And I wish we were able to give more, but that is one of the few places where there is opportunity, and I think that's something that we want to share as much as possible about.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that information.
Also, I just wanted to open it up for you, Carrie. So as obviously someone who is passionate about your work and eventually reched out and found a great partner through the Small Business Development Center at SBDCs for mentoring, do you have any recommendations for anybody else who might be in those in that situation where they want to expand or take their business to the next level? Should they reach out to their SBDC and any other advice?
Absolutely. I think they absolutely should reach out and see what there is that they could tap into as far as either financial help or grants or loans, or even just the proper guidance, or someone who is confident in their business ability to help guide someone like me who is not that confident in the business end of it, and that can help make the way easier for them and clear the path a little bit more, you know. So I would absolutely recommend reaching out and trying to network with as many people as possible in either the field that they're going to pursue a new business venture or to enhance their business venture. I think that the SBA is an excellent place to start working. If they have an economic development branch, to reach out through there, and they could set you up through the SBCA as well. And definitely look forward to reaching out more to as I expand my business further later on.
We talked a bit about some partnerships you were able to develop in external folks outside of the federal government, outside of the SBA, whether that was the Indian Fund, Environmental Indigenous Network. You also talked a bit earlier when we were talking backstage about local efforts that you're engaged in on tourism. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes. So when COVID did shut the world down in 2020, I'll segue back to that again. We were trying to figure out how to push forward with the business and the presentations and things of that nature. And Akwesasne Travel was started in their incubator program with tourism. And they tapped me to see if I would be part of the program, and which I gladly accepted, because I just love to share my baskets and the stories behind them and all of the things that go with basket weaving with people. And we started doing online classes and courses to kind of like hone in the skills a little bit and to be able to put the presentations online. And now that things are back in person now, like, you know, tentatively, slightly, I'm doing tours in my studio in person. And it's been really, really great. It was great to work with them. And Michelle Collins from the SBDC in Canton was also there to help. So that kind of helped that transition a little bit easier too. She was there to give her expertise. But the tourism is one thing that I'm part of here in Akwesasne through Akwesasne Travel. And I recently partnered with the Akwesasne Boys and Girls Club through the Creatives Rebuild New York grant that was just offered. It's a 2-year grant, and that is also something that I'm a part of as well now.
Thanks for sharing that. I know that there are a number of other tribes and nations out there that are also focusing on tourism. There's a South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance that we work with a bit at the SBA. There is the American Indian IANTA is a national tourism alliance that does great work to help Native folks that work in tourism, and that's that small business sector. There are some great other examples of entrepreneurs across the country. Nez Perce Tourism out in Idaho is another great example of a company doing great things and making big waves. And so I think that this is another burgeoning and growing area of Native American economies and opportunity for the small businesses so that we can improve from the approximately 26,000 Native American owned businesses last year to something that will really grow and provide opportunity for Native folks and some sustainability for not only this generation but future generations. So I'm really excited that you're in that space and that space is growing right now. Another space that is growing with respect to Native Americans and another really opportunity is the 8A Business Development Program. And the 8A Business Development Program is a program managed by the Small Business Administration, the SBA, to encourage and promote underutilized businesses and small disadvantaged businesses to become government contractors, federal government contractors. And if you, it might come as a surprise to some, but maybe not so, that the fact is the US government is the largest buyer and procurer of goods and services in the world. So they buy more of anything and everything than anybody else in the world. And it is a great opportunity if you're a Native American or other small disadvantaged-owned business, veteran-owned businesses, and women-owned businesses included, to sell directly to the federal government and take advantage of the program. So this is a program that also we encourage you to look at if you are in a business that could sell really anything to the federal government. You can contact us through the SBA website. The SBDCs are excellent partners, and they really have walked thousands and thousands of companies through this process. And we at the SBA also partner with other agencies that help with this in other programs, external, like the Procurement Technical Assistance Program, PTAX, and okay, I lost, hopefully your screen didn't go black, mine did. But yeah, PTAX are another great program that we work with at the SBA, and we encourage anybody, whether you're a Native American or other small disadvantaged business, to look at. And right now is a really opportune time to do that. The Biden-Harris administration has announced an ambitious goal of getting to 15% utilization of small disadvantaged businesses. And we want to make sure that we meet this ambitious goal and we support that. So we encourage everybody to take a look at the 8A program. As we're winding down, I just wanted to, I guess, I could give you another opportunity, Carrie, to share a bit about anything that's on your mind, whether it is recommendations for other small businesses or anything. And also, since the background isn't blurred, maybe we can look at those baskets and the jewelry one more time.
Okay. I can show you some of the baskets real quick now that it's not blurred. What I was trying to show you before was this piece.
Oh yeah.
It's gold leafed. It was created for a makeup company here called Babes Cosmetics, and they were in a magazine called Native Max Magazine, and they had wanted one of my students and I to create a piece that the model could wear while they showcase their makeup, and that's what we came up with. So I thought that was really cool. It's been in a magazine. This is a clutch that I created for a different purpose, another event that I was attending, because I would rather make my things than buy them. I like to experiment with color and saturation, so this is kind of just a wild little design made with really black ash. Thank you. It's all made with black ash and sweetgrass, and the black ash is a little bit on the endangered side because of the emerald ash borer, which is slowly decimating all of my trees and making it really difficult to procure really good trees to use. It's killing the trees from the top down, starving them out. So the black ash is becoming endangered. The sweetgrass is abundant. All of the materials that I use are hand processed. The splint is processed by a gentleman, and I purchase the splints from there. And then I do everything from peeling apart the splint to cutting it to dyeing it to weaving it into the creations that I do make. And the sweetgrass is handpicked one blade at a time in the summertime and only during that time because it doesn't grow all year round. So those are some of the aspects of my business that are environmentally, they're important. I'm a little bit afraid that I'm going to run out of material as far as the black ash, and that I'll have to move on to other materials, but I'll keep making them with the black ash while I still can. But it is a scary thing to think that I might not have material in the future to use.
That definitely very concerning. But I guess it also makes it more of an opportunity if you're a buyer. Maybe now's the time to buy some of your stuff. And so where can we find some of your work, Carrie? And also, you mentioned the tourism group that you work with locally, and do they have a website where folks can learn more about them too?
Yes, you could search Akwesasne Travel and they should pop up. Unfortunately, I don't have the website known, but I do know, like, through the Facebook avenue, you can search Akwesasne Travel and you can click their link and they'll bring you right to it. And there's myself and Evan Cree and another group that's on there as well that you could search out the tours from there. Yeah. I'm sorry, I got flustered.
No worries. And Akwesasne Travel, and then Akwesasne is spelled Akwesasne, Akwesasne. Yeah, in case you haven't come across it. Yeah. And then you're on Facebook and Instagram. Is that the best way to look you up?
Yes, Facebook and Instagram, both Chill Baskets, 2 separate words. A lot of times people will say, well, how did you get the name Chill Baskets? Is it because you're so chill? And I said, no, because my name is Carrie Hill and C Hill is chill. I'm high strung. I'm not chill. And so sometimes people don't put that connection together. But yeah, those are my avenues. I also have a website that just automatically links to my Facebook and my Instagram, which is www.chill/baskets@.com. Chillbaskets.com with the slash in there. Oh, you got me flustered.
No worries. Well, this has been an amazing discussion. Before we close out, do you have any additional words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our audience?
So the scariest thing I ever did was walk away from steady money to pursue my passion. And even though I don't eat steak every night, bologna's still meat and it still feeds me. I highly encourage people to pursue their passion as a form of a business endeavor, and that there are it's a lot less scary now with the opportunities that are out there to do so than maybe 20 years ago when I thought about it.
Thank you. Well, this brings us to a close for today's discussion. I want to thank our fantastic guest, Carrie Hill from Chill Baskets, Akwesasne, New York, right straddling the border with New York and Canada, border that crossed Akwesasne, folks. And I want to thank you, Hiehep, for sharing your insight about your work. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. It's been my privilege to moderate today's discussion as we continue to uplift Native American entrepreneurs all across the country in their quest to maintain and grow their businesses all across the United States. As a reminder, this webinar has been recorded and will be available to you on the SBA's YouTube channel, so give us a like and a follow there. It'll be there within the next 24 hours. And to learn more about SBA services, I encourage you to contact one of our 68 local district offices or the SBA.gov and go to local resources. We've got some great folks and great partners there. And I want to leave this message with you all, and that is that Native American people are diverse, growing, sophisticated, and very much engaged in small business development. Finally, a special thanks to you, our audience, for tuning in. You know, have a great day. Bye-bye.